Welcome back. Now, for over 30 years, locals and communities in Arklow, they campaigned to have their very own water treatment plant.
Now, a state-of-the-art water treatment plant opened last month in Arklow.
And Derek is there this morning to hear all about the plant and the benefits to the community. Over to you, Derek.
Yes, good morning, team. Well, they have campaigned for many, many years. This has been dubbed the Cathedral of Crap by The Guardian in the UK, but actually it's an award-winning facility. Welcome down here to the brand new wastewater treatment plant down in Arklow in County Wicklow. We're joined now by Emma Doyle, who is, of course, Assistant Manager, and Maria O'Dwyer from Uisce Éireann. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
And great to be down here. Now, we'll start with you first up. The problem. Tell us about it down here in Arklow, County Wicklow, Maria.
Well, for many years, a lot of the sewage in this town was actually all flowing into our foul and our sewage pipes, but then it was actually flowing directly into the River of Oka and out into the Irish Sea. So we had no treatment facility here in Arklow at all. So for a long number of years, we were trying to get this plant over the line. It first got planning, plant here first got planning back in 1994. Yeah, so a long time ago. So when Uisce Éireann was formed, I suppose back in 2014, we came at this with fresh eyes and took a new approach, just looking at, well, where was the best site to actually build this plant?
Now, there was many roadblocks along the way and many planning objections to it, but what did you do that was different?
I suppose the key thing is we often think about planning and we think about objectors, but you know, planning at the end of the day is all about community engagement, and that was probably the big difference here. So we had huge engagement with the locals and with the community here in terms of looking at the different sites where we could actually build that, and through that we actually came down with a shortlist, and we're here today probably because of that community engagement and the feedback we got through that consultative process. And so we really appreciate all the support we got from the community in building this facility and in working with us to get us to where we are today.
Now, in fact, there's been decades of protests to try and get this up and running. There's been so many roadblocks, and in fact this has really been a roadblock to the development of the town in terms of its growth.
Absolutely. I mean, it goes back, you have to have water services if you're going to have housing, and because water services wasn't in this town, it was held back from growing and being its best. But now that this facility is here, the town can actually, you know, more or less double in population, and we're really looking forward to being able to serve the community in Arklow.
I mean, you're talking a population size of about 13,500 down here in Arklow. This is really a commuter belt town to Dublin, so I mean, potential, as you said, to double it.
Absolutely, and we take that approach with all of our projects. You know, a lot of our projects are driven for environmental reasons, but wherever we go, we do build in that capacity to serve housing, and as you know, that's so critical at the moment. You have to have water services first if you're going to actually be able to cater for housing. Now,
before this was built, we obviously had massive environmental issues because we had raw sewage flowing from the town itself for decades right into the Avoca River and out into the Irish Sea.
That's right, and as I said, we've probably 50 of these sites around the country. We've 35 of them resolved now, 6 more are under construction at the moment, and the others we're actually endeavouring to bring them through the planning process. So again, it's really, I suppose, getting our message out there, and you know, these sites are absolutely critical to protecting the environment and catering for future growth.
And what I noticed on the way in this morning, of course, we stopped off at the along the river, that there's loads of wildlife beginning to return now, which is great, isn't it?
Absolutely, and the waters here are beautiful, as you saw yourself on the River of Oka, and looking out, they're crystal clear, and we're delighted to have this plant here now. And
yes, and the woman in charge here, your assistant manager, is Emma. Good morning to you, Emma.
Good morning.
Emma, will you explain to us the process involved then?
So basically the sewage comes into the plant and it's pumped once and it's pumped up into our tanks, and then it's essentially sieved and any debris is taken out, any big debris, so it doesn't damage anything further along the process. And once that and the grit and grease is taken out, it's pumped over here into these SBR tanks. And in here is essentially like a mycobacterial farm, and the bacteria eats the nutrients and stuff like that so that it cleans the water basically. Once they're finished eating, it settles. So we leave it to settle down and the sludge settles to the bottom and the clean water rises to the top, separating.
Okay. What do you do then with the leftover sludge, so to speak?
So the leftover sludge is then drained and brought into a PFT tank, and it's like a holding tank that mixes it, and then that is put into a centrifuge, and in the centrifuge they spin and separate the solid particles from the water, so we have a more reduced the volume of it basically, and we send that off to in a skip.
Okay, and the clean water then right back out into the sea.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. Let's talk about the smell, because we were expecting when we came down here yesterday, we said, okay, there's going to be an awful stench down here. There isn't any at all. I can't believe it.
Yeah, and even standing here beside these open tanks, these are one of the only open tanks on site, no smell altogether. And all the other tanks are closed, or they have odour removal coming out of them. These don't have anything, and it's mainly largely to the slatted on the sides and the fact that these just don't produce.
Yeah, and we have the sea breeze coming in. This building has actually recently won awards as well. What did it win?
It won architectural, wasn't it?
Architectural
The
awards, yeah.
Architect Association of Ireland actually awarded this plant the Downs Medal, which is a very prestigious award. There's only, I think, been 6 handed out since 2012, so we're actually delighted to receive that. And to be fair to the architects,
It's Conor Murray, isn't it? Yeah.
It's the work they did here. So the building is very sympathetic to its historical origins, you know, being an industrial area, and, you know, sympathetic to the landscape. It's very placemaking. View, the way that it's been finished off, but it's wonderful.
And Maria, before we will wrap up, people at home can play their part in terms of water conservation.
Absolutely, that's where we would say think before you flush. Think about what you do at home, you know what I mean, in terms of what goes down the toilet and what comes into our system. The old cliche message, no wipes, no earbuds, only, you know, the 3 Ps and, you know, as in the toilet paper, pee and poo.
All right,
Nothing
and
else.
that's it. Okay,
That's it.
well, thank you for a fascinating tour this morning. Of course, we've this one here, many more up and running around the country, which is great to see, and hopefully we'll get to do a tour of that at some stage. To Maria and Fiona, not an ounce of a smell down here. Hope you enjoyed that report. Back to Dublin.
It smells worse up here, actually.
I was actually going the changing rooms, the women's changing rooms here with all of our shoes. We need whatever they're putting in that water. What?
We did. People at home didn't need to know that.
Maybe you did want to know that there's a lot of shoes in one room in this building.
You're so full of shoes.
Now, after the break, we're going to look how we can update your summer wardrobe without breaking the bank.
And we've got some sweet treats for you in the kitchen
We'll
as
be
well.
back with you very shortly on Ireland AM.